Hit record. And hello and welcome in, everybody, to the University of Chicago. We are at Stagg Field here, and today we are going for a berth to the Final Four between the University of Chicago Maroons men's soccer team and Emory University. Both teams got here after victories in yesterday's sectional semifinal. The Maroons defeated Calvin by a score of 2-0. And then Emory University in last night's game, which was delayed 93 minutes by lightning and weather conditions in the first half. They were eventually able to finish that game, and Emory came out on top 2-1 over Mary Hardin-Baylor, even though the Crusaders came up with a late goal to make things interesting. Game finished, however, with Emory winning 2-1 and taking on the Maroons here with a chance for either winning team to go to the Final Four. Eric Willowhite here along with Alex Reed. And Alex, welcome to the broadcast. And we were here for the women's final here earlier, in which the women's Maroons team punched their ticket to Greensboro. Both teams, Emory and the Maroons, looking to do the same today.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game earlier. The University of Chicago Maroons ladies team showcased why they are one of the favorites to go on and challenge for the national championship. And this will probably be a much more competitive game today. We got two teams. Emory's got the record and the number against the Maroons men's team. So far, they won their last game against the University of Chicago 3-0 October 7th. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how all this stuff plays out and how maybe yesterday's late game will affect Emory. Yeah, you don't know. And then again, you don't know the 3-0 victory by Emory back on October 7th. It's so long ago at this point. Does it have any bearing other than it gives Emory some confidence, the Eagles some confidence in tonight's game? Even though they had 5 losses on the season, they were able to beat their conference, the conference champion, here at home or here in Chicago. So that's bodes well for the Eagles. And so this should be a good match as we are underway here on Stagg Field. And we have foul called on the far side. Emory will be going left to right here in the first half with their blue, gray, white blended jerseys, and the University of Chicago Maroons in their home white with the maroon numerals. In goal tonight, Hill Bonin for the Maroons, and Cole Gallagher in net for the Eagles. As the ball gets played here on the near side. And coming out with it, Emory University bringing forward is Michael Carragher. Carragher had a strong game yesterday in that battle against Mary Hardin-Baylor, beating the Crusaders. Now the Maroons will pick up the ball on the far side, and they'll look to advance. Weather conditions, miserable. But it's not raining or snowing. It is very windy. Winds are gusting about 22 miles an hour for this game. It's going in the face of the Maroons during the first half here as they go right to left. Carter Romero chipping the ball over. Now Isaiah Holtquist has it. And he's going to boot it towards the box. That's headed back out of there by Emory. Now battle going towards the near sideline. Romero coming out with it, beating 2 defenders. Gets it to Idea's son. And now Capitoso will chip it over to the far side. Matthew Coe. Getting into the far side, chip toward the box, trying to feed it inside to Lopez. Headed out of there by the Eagles. Knocked back down, however. Shot fired. Oh, just off the hands of Gallagher. What an early chance for the Maroons. That one sailed wide as Gallagher had to get a hand on that, Alex. That was quite an early shot here for the Maroons. Yeah, what a sensational save there from Gallagher. He had to make a good one. Capitosto beautiful location up there on that high near post.
And the corner kick forthcoming for the Maroons, headed back into the box, bicycle kick, and it's going to roll towards the end line. Adeosun battling there, and now the Emory Eagles coming out with it. Coming up with a quick head of steam. That was Christian Meyer. There was a collision there, no call. And now the Maroons look to bring it back inside the zone. They do. Holquist has it along the near side. Ball goes out, and it's going to go over. Keep with the Maroons.
Yeah, this is a great first initial push here by the Maroons. They're doing a good job.
And now we're getting set up here. Our corner coming for the Maroons. As they head towards the box, kick on its way, headed up in the air. That's popped over the end line, and that ball will turn over to the Eagles as Cole Gallagher will take the ball. Hard to not miss Gallagher even without the orange shirt. He's got the frosted hair, so he's you can't miss him out there on the back line.
Well, that's safe to say, yeah.
And here come the Eagles now inside the Maroon zone along the far side as they'll look to put up some sustained pressure here. Early going has belonged to the Maroons at this point. And now a throw in for Chicago. Scott Lick chests the ball around midfield. Now it's punched further inside the Emory zone. And kind of typical, you see this in between the zone play and the early going. We saw that yesterday between both teams, both games. The early going was spent with a little plays in the neutral zone, so to speak. And then for the Maroons, they were able to really pick it up, scoring early.
Yeah, we saw that in the earlier game as well. A lot of middle play. Besides a couple of early goals by the Maroons, a lot of in the middle of the field play.
Yeah, I think I got that backwards. I got our games backwards yesterday. The Lightning delay was the first game. That was the game the Maroons were in. And it pushed back the second game later. Let's just say it was a long day yesterday.
There you go, yeah.
Now play along the far side. Punch down deep into the zone. Gallagher is going to come out and take that ball, and he'll reset for the Eagles as we're just under 40 minutes played here in the first half. Winner goes to Greensboro for the Division III Final Four here in men's soccer. And the host Maroons looking to join their women counterparts who punched their ticket earlier this afternoon on this same field. Originally scheduled for the grass field, but the game had to be moved with the rainy conditions we've had over the last 24 to 36 hours here in Chicago.
Or rain/snow.
Yes.
Sleet, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Slash just
cold.
Cold and wet, right. Ball thrown in. Romero trying to feed it in. Punched ahead. And on to Gallagher.
It'll be kind of interesting to see how the weather plays a factor in this game. I felt like it definitely played a factor in the earlier game, kind of made the ball really skip and hop around. It kind of made you had to be really accurate with all your passes. Now the field, I imagine, has dried out a smidge, and the wind has picked up. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how those conditions are changed.
Yeah, you can still see some of the slick marks on the turf, but you're right. It's nowhere near like it was earlier for the women's match. As shot goes on net, and Hillbonen able to haul that in easily right into the bread basket, and he's going to look for an outlet, directing some traffic right now. And one thing you pointed out in that first game, Alex, was with the wind and the wet conditions, you had to keep the ball down because of the wind, but because the field was wet, it skipped. Mm-hmm. So you don't have as much of the moisture on the ground as you do in the first half, but you definitely have the wind. And so looking to keep it lower, still going to be a little slick, given the cold temperatures and the dampness, but nothing like it was this afternoon.
Well, and the interesting part is with this wind, it almost affects, it's almost counterintuitive because the wind for corner kick actually probably favors the team that the wind is going against.
Right.
Just because you can help predict it, but on the other side the wind's going against it, so it can push it all the way behind the goal, and we saw that earlier too. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how each team feels itself out, feels out the conditions, and adapts as it goes on.
Now, I've had 2 corner kicks so far, both from the Maroons, both from the left near corner, and those were able to stay in bounds. They weren't pushed tremendously, but I think what you're talking about is if we have a corner kick on the other end here, there's the ability for that ball to really bend given the way the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
All right, play along the far side, chipping it up to midfield are the Eagles, and the Maroons punch it back inside the zone as they now look to advance here with 36 minutes remaining in the first half. Chipped from the corner, going towards the box, headed there it is, and it's in! What a shot from the corner, and look who's in the box once more, Max Lopez.
Wow.
As he gets the goal.
It seemed like there was some discrepancy between it initially because they thought that there might have been some goaltender contact, and there was a lot of contact between the two players.
Yeah.
But I think that's what Emory was trying to talk about, that there was interference on Max Lopez, but
yeah,
great job scoring there.
And tough in traffic, but able to get a piece on it and put it in the net. Looking at Gallagher a little bit is kind of shaking his head a little bit from the contact that was made, eyes watering a little. So obviously a little bit of an impact there, but Lopez able to put that ball in the net. And if I'm not mistaken, Alex, that's his 20th on the season. He had 19 going in? 19
yeah.
now. Wow.
Fantastic job.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, him and Matthew Coe have been such a good tandem this year, scoring the ball for the Maroons.
All right, so let's see now how the Eagles respond to early adversity here. They never trailed in their game yesterday against Mary Hardin-Baylor, although, again, the Crusaders came up with a late goal in the last 6 minutes of that match, and they were definitely the aggressors, but the Crusaders ran out of time, and Emory were able to withhold the charge from Mary Hardin-Baylor to advance to tonight's sectional final and looking to punch their ticket to the Final Four. Gallagher chips it ahead. Here comes Emory up the field now as they're looking to get some sort of sustained offensive pressure here. As picking up the ball along the near side, Evan Flourish. Ball goes back now and chip it back to the defender. Now up to midfield, heading towards out of bounds, but kept in by the Eagles. That was Christian Meyer. Now Flourish is going to have a throw-in. Evan Flourish with the throw-in gets it to Meyer. Meyer tried to feed that inside to Michael Carragher. Now the Eagles having a little bit of possession time, although it's kind of out in the fringes right now. But they'll take that versus the alternative of trying to chase down the Maroons inside their own zone. And Odeoson was able to steal the ball away. Now, if he would have kept going with that, he might have had an opportunity, but he kind of stopped for a minute there. And the Eagles were able to recover. Going along the far side, chipping it into Odeoson. Eagles take it out, trying to get it up to midfield, and they do. Cross the midfield mark, pushing it over to the far side. Here come the Eagles now. The Maroons look to steal the ball away. They do, and get it back up to midfield. And now moving it to the far side. Have a streaking Cardo Romero, but two defenders in between him, and now Romero is down on the ground. He's back up on his feet. He's a little bit shaken up after that collision between the two defenders, and now we have an Eagles player who's on all fours at the moment. And now back on his feet. Looks like a foot injury. That's Michael Carragher, number 9, who's hobbling right foot, right ankle possibly. And Odeoson trying to punch that in to Holquist, stolen away by Christian Meyer. And now Evan Florish with the throw-in.
We have an email into our gomaroons@gmail account. You can hit us up at gomaroons@gmail.com. Stacy Ryman's grandparents, 90 and 88 years old, are watching from Pittsburgh. Ann and Dom are avid fans and very excited. They watch every game on their iPhone. Go Maroons.
All right. Well, Stacy Ryman's grandparents, thank you so much for watching tonight, and hopefully for you have a good game from your son there. It's out on the back line, as he's had a great season, as have the Maroons. And now Gallagher comes out, and he punches that out. Look how far that hung in the air with that wind. Now the ball comes back down, and I believe that was a handball. That thing hung up there a while. They had some Major League pop-up on it. All right, now the Eagles pushing it along the far side. And trying to get it over to the far corner. Still have the ball. Maroons come out with it. Here come the Maroons being trailed from behind. However, Christian Meyer is trying to come up that play for the Maroons. Holquist. Meyer doing a good job defending. Quick on the ball. Now Romero will drop it back. Holquist along the near side. Now Max Lopez. Maroons take the ball and pushing it over to the far side. Nate Johnson in the game right now. Now the ball booted, heading towards the box. Lopez streaking down there and chipped out by the Eagles to the far side. All flipped in the air. And a battle on the far side near midfield. Ball finally goes out of bounds. Let's see, we're going to have a throw-in for the Maroons. Scott Lick will take that for Chicago.
Yeah, this has been a physical game so far, and in this cold temperature, every single hit that you take hurts twice as much as any normal hit in a normal temperature. It's cold out here, so expect a lot of physicality in this game.
Little collision there. Adeosun on the ground, but he's back up. Foul called. He'll have a free kick here. Speaking of physical play, Emory was involved in a very physical match with Mary Hardin Baylor yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, I believe there was a total of 5 yellow cards handed out in that game. Play got very chippy, and obviously the score tightened up towards the end there. So no stranger to chippy play in postseason action or Emory. And so we'll have to keep an eye on how things go so far. It's not necessarily the MO of the Maroons, but when you're playing for the stakes of going to the Final Four, the level of competition will definitely ratchet up. And because these two teams are conference foes, that adds another element to this match as they're very familiar with each other.
Yeah, and you know the Maroons are going to come out with their foot on the gas pedal trying to knock this team out. They're upset that they let that game slip out of hand 3-0 the last time that they played. They marked October 7th down on their calendars, and they remembered it coming into today. All those guys, I'm sure they talked about it in the locker room and remember that day. And, they want to vindicate their loss.
Yeah, you never know what will happen with some of these matchups where, you're beaten by the other team and then you face them in the postseason. Sometimes what you think the script might be can actually get turned over on its edge. And sometimes those matchups never happen. I think for the women's side earlier today, the Maroons team that won and defeat University of Wisconsin lacrosse defeated Washington University, which was the team that gave the Maroons women's soccer team the only loss. So probably going into it, the Maroons were thinking if there was a matchup against Wash U, that would have been a great opportunity for revenge and knock them out of the playoffs. But that matchup never happened. Maroons beat lacrosse, and then they're on their way to the Final Four. Not the same thing here with the men's team, because the men's team had 2 losses on the season, one of them to the same Emory University. But again, being a conference foe, you have that level of familiarity. Ball played now along the far side as Emory's looking to push it deeper inside Maroons' territory. And we got a little standoff now. All the plays pretty much been on the perimeter for Emory so far. One thing, though, that they're doing right now, which I like what they did yesterday against Mary Hardin-Baylor, is when they decided to slow things down and play the patient game, making the passes on the perimeter on the outlet and then eventually looking for a lead in. They had better success with that. Obviously a different opponent tonight against the Maroons, but it's something that seemed to work better for them as opposed to those quick pushes inside the zone. Those seem to get turned around very quickly. Ball chipped in, trying to feed into Carter Romero, but that was headed out of play by the Eagles. And now here's Christian Meyer. He's got a head of steam, trying to ward off Isaiah Holquist. Some hand contact there. Look how quick Meyer is. Chips it towards the net. Knocked down. Shot on the way, and it goes wide. What an opportunity for the Eagles as Christian Meyer fed that ball in and getting a foot on it. But having the ball just go wide were the Eagles. And that was probably definitely their best opportunity so far of the game, and an anxious moment for Hill Bonin and the Maroons.
That was just a fantastic individual effort there from Meyer. I mean, he showed off his speed, and he outran the entire Maroons back on the other side, but he started at about midfield when he got that ball. My goodness.
Actually, I think he was even further in. He was around the 20, 30-yard line inside his own zone, and he was in a foot race. He was fending off Isaiah Holquist, and he was able to do that. There was some hand checking going on, but he was able to fight through that. Just a burst of speed, and then that excellent centering cross pass into the box, and then it just goes wide. So definitely someone you got to look out for, Christian Meyer, number 2 for the Eagles. And I'm sure the Maroons are well aware of that, as these teams, again, know each other very well, being conference opponents. And just having played a little over a month ago here on this, well, not on this field. They actually played on the grass field. It was an afternoon game.
One of the rare times that this men's team plays on the grass.
Right. And for the women's, one of the rare times they played on the turf today because they're normally all on the grass. So it happens. All right, Meyer again controlling the ball. And he's going to drop it further back inside his own zone as they'll look to reestablish, again playing the patient game. George Daoud has it, and he'll push it forward, head it down towards the far corner. Maroons are going to try and track it down there. Scott Lick pushing it ahead, kept in by the Eagles.
I like the pace that the Eagles are playing with. They're really attacking the ball every single time that the Maroons are getting it now. They're playing very aggressively and forcing some tough angles.
Yeah, it's a sense of urgency they're playing with, but definitely not a sense of panic. So okay, they didn't score the first goal. They're trailing by 1, but that hasn't affected their demeanor and how they're playing right now. There's a long way to go in this battle. And again, having the confidence knowing they've beaten this team earlier in the year is something that they can draw from. Gallagher is going to boot that ball. It'll go towards the near sideline, headed out of bounds. Let's see who's going to get it. And they're going to say Maroons pushed it out. Meyer throws it in. Now that ball is going to be carried in by Carragher. Carragher has the ball knocked towards the far side. The Eagles will try and work it around the zone there. Adeosun steals the ball, however. And then it's pushed forward to the far side. Eagles keep it in. Again, more of the play has been on this side of the field since that goal. And then that wonderful opportunity started by Christian Meyer. Now Evan Florish has it in front of the Maroons bench. It's being pressured by Romero. Now a little give and go between Carragher and Florish. That was knocked away by the Maroons. Max Lopez now is going to try and track it down. The Eagles push it up to midfield. Lopez doing a good job trying to gum up works for the Eagles. And now here comes the Eagles at midfield. They're going to push it back. Daoud has it, and he'll push it up. Daoud feeding it in to Katab. Mustafa Katab had the ball taken away. Carragher. Now Katab racing to track that ball down once again. And it's pushed back by the Maroons into Eagles territory. Eagles will boot it back. Long pass, trying to feed it inside the box. That's knocked out of there, now headed into the Eagles zone, where the Eagles will look to push it ahead. Daoud has it, and he'll push it to the cross. And now punch down to the far sideline. Scott Lick will boot it up. And the Maroons will move forward. Adeosun chipping it back. Capitosto. Now Ryman back to Capitosto. And pushing it cross field. Getting it up to Nate Johnson, over to Isaiah Holquist. He was being pressured. And now Andre Abedian has it and pushes it over to the far side. Matthew Coe pushing it ahead. Coe stops, drops it back. Adeosun has it now. And he had the ball knocked away. Good defensive play by the Eagles to take control of that ball along the far side, as it looked like the Maroons were getting ready to set up shop and move that ball around inside the Eagles zone. The Eagles wanted no part of that. Isaiah Holquist along the near sideline, gets around Christian Meyer. Now he's got a head of steam. Meyer quickly closing from behind. And he'll punch back over to Carter Romero along the near sideline. Knocks the ball down, pushes it ahead. Chips it towards the box. There's two men there for the Maroons. Knocked down. Dale's shot off the arm and a save made by Gallagher. What a save. That was more self-preservation than anything, Alex, as that ball was kind of headed toward his face. He got an arm up to protect himself and the goal.
Yeah, that was a reactionary save. That wasn't a set-up save. He put himself in good position, but that was all reaction on that play. He didn't have time to think about it. Just punched that ball out. My goodness, what a great shot.
That was something else, and Romero able to punch that ball in towards the corner. And what an opportunity there for the Maroons. Here's Lopez. Adeosun has it now. Now he's going to drop it back. Scott Lick pushing ahead. He's going to stop, slow it down, drop it back to the far corner. Coe chipping it towards the box. That's headed out of there by the Eagles. Chip back towards the box. That was going to go wide anyways, but Gallagher flags it down. And he'll reset for the Eagles. 20 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the first half. The University of Chicago Maroons up by a score of 1-0. And the winner of this game advances to the Final Four in Greensboro. The NCAA Division III Men's Soccer Final Four. Not sure they're going to have to deal with 38 degrees and 22-mile-an-hour winds out there, Alex. At least I would hope not.
Yeah, I don't know what the weather is in Greensboro, North Carolina, but I don't think it's freezing out there.
All right, throw in from the far side. And that's taken by the Maroons as they look to move it inside the zone. Getting some good momentum right now. Romero has it. Takes it back. Feeds it. Adeosun slipped momentarily. I think he was trying to get ready to line it up, and then he kind of stumbled. Now he's able to push the ball, trying to get it back inside to Lopez. That was knocked out by the Eagles. Scott Lick will track it back down. Coe going to the far corner. Adeosun chipping it along the end line. Knocked out of there by the Eagles. Ball hasn't even been out of bounds that much, Alex. It's been a pretty nonstop action here. No substitutions as of yet either.
Yeah, it's been a high-paced game. Both teams are really, really pressing each other.
And, of course, as soon as I say that, we'll have a throw-in. So, actually, no, there must have been a
yeah, I think it was a foul.
Right, yeah, doing a free kick here. All right, so the Eagles now. Daoud with the restart and the kick for the Eagles. Bluff. Daoud will take it. Pushing it ahead to Ferguson. Adam Ferguson kicks it over to the far side. Being pressured. Maroons trying to clear it out, but that goes out of bounds. That's going to be a throw-in for the Eagles. Maroons saying it was off a Eagles player, but to no avail on their protest. Katab. Now the ball pushed towards the slot area. Deosun foots it out of there. Throw in coming for the Eagles. Far side. All right, here come the Eagles. Trying to penetrate the box area. Maroons turn it around and punch it towards midfield where it'll roll out of bounds. So another throw in for the Eagles.
Kind of seems like the Maroons have really compressed the box. They're putting a lot of bodies back there.
Yeah, you don't want to obviously go into prevent defense or anything along those lines. You got a long way to go in this game. But you want to protect, force things out to the perimeter as much as possible. And now that ball will go over to the Maroons as Hill Bonin will take the kick here at 16:38 remaining in the first half. 1-0 for the University of Chicago. And that ball kicked up to midfield, even against the wind. Nice job by Bonin to push that ball into Eagles territory. Gallagher tries to chip it back to midfield, and he's successful with the help of his Eagles teammates as they look to set up shop once again. Isaiah Holquist tracks it down and chips it up to the center circle. And now that ball comes down. Bedian pushes it over to the far side. Here come the Maroons back in their own zone, chipping it ahead. Stacey Ryman has it. Now the ball pushed back over to Hill Bonin as the Maroons will look to reestablish here. Bonin's going to give it a boot. Now he'll stop, wait for pressure, and chip it forward. And knocked down, no call. Oh, there was a foul call, I was going to say. And Coe was knocked down. And Scott Lick pushes the ball inside the zone. Adeosun chipping it towards the box. It'll roll into the hands of Cole Gallagher with 15:14 remaining. First half action, 1-0 lead for the University of Chicago Maroons. We are on the campus of the University of Chicago. Ball stolen away. Chip shot save made by Gallagher on the shot attempt by Coe. Adeosun fires a shot and another save. Gallagher keeping his team in it here. 3 saves in the span of a few minutes here, keeping this a 1-0 game. We are going to get a corner kick for the Maroons, but Gallagher standing tall in his net for the Eagles.
What a great opportunity there from Matthew Coe.
Header on its way towards the box, off the post and in!
No, they called it off.
They did call it off. Nope. Yeah, they did. Okay. Yeah, no goal there.
Looked like a lot of
they're
contact.
protesting, yeah.
Yeah.
We thought that was a goal. Most everyone in the press box thought goal. Alex, you were quick on it to see that right away, however, as the referee, the official was pointing the other way.
Yeah.
So, but another opportunity for the Maroons. And here they come again.
Well, you hope this doesn't have the same effect that it did in one of their previous games where they kind of lost momentum. Actually, I believe it was against Emory, but it was 1-1 in the score. It was going to be 1-1, but that goal was called off, so they ended up losing that game 3-0. Hopefully that doesn't have the same impact that it had in the last game.
Right, they
Maroons.
were trailing 1-0 when they had that goal wiped out. This time, at least, they're from their standpoint, they're up 1-0. So it may not have the same sting, but again, a playoff match, every goal matters. And it looks like we're getting our first substitution. 27 checking in. That's William Jones, and I believe that was Daoud coming out. I can't tell for sure. No, that was Michael Carragher. Here come the Eagles. pressuring the zone. Johnson pushes it over to the far side. That's flagged down by the Eagles. They want to set up shop inside Maroons territory and get some quality zone time. But more importantly than that, get some shots on net and put one in the back of the net so they can tie this up. That's their plan at the moment. Holquist heads it towards the far side. Then it's pushed out of there by Ryman. And a battle, the 40-yard line inside the Maroons territory. And it's a foul called against the Eagles. And so this will be restarted on the kick by the Maroons and Ryman. 12:20 to play, first half, 1-0 lead for University of Chicago. Eric Willowhite along with Alex Reed. Sean Jarrett on camera today. And as always, Dan Obie producing our soccer production, as many of the other productions we do here on the Maroons Broadcast Network. Thanks for joining us wherever you are and whichever team you're rooting for. Hopefully you're nice and warm. The players obviously playing through some cold, windy, chilly conditions, but with what's at stake here, for the most part, they're impervious to it, at least until they're stopped playing, and then then they'll feel it.
Yeah, one of the big keys in this kind of weather is to keep yourself loose and keep yourself.
That's why it's tough for the players coming in off the bench. You know, they have to do a quick warm-up. As coming in right now, Bryce Millington. He's coming in.
Looks like that's a Adeosun checking out.
Yep. So Millington in for Adeosun.
Adeosun's had a pretty good first half
he has
for the Maroons.
Been very active in that 1-2-3 combination for the Maroons between Adeosun, Lopez, and Coe. Has been very deadly most of the season.
Yeah, 15 assists on the year for Adeosun coming into this match.
Now Scott Lick will have the throw in for the Maroons along the far sideline, pushes it in. Good throw, but headed back out by the Eagles. Now punched back in by the Maroons and Capitosto. And that ball goes out of bounds. Scott Lick will have another throw in a little further inside Eagles territory. Gets the throw inside, knocked down, punch toward the box. Gallagher comes out before Carter Romero can get there and put a play on the ball. Now the ball punched into Maroons territory. Stacy Ryman pushes it ahead. Ball taken away by the Eagles and taken back by the Maroons. Oh, nifty play there. I believe Stacy Ryman on that. And that ball is going to go sail out of bounds. Throw in for the Eagles. They get it up to midfield immediately on the quick throw in. And they'll do it one more time. Ball right at midfield. Eagles playing along the far side. Now they're going a little further back inside their own zone. Going backwards to move ahead. Oh, slipping on the far side are the Eagles, and then that ball rolls out of bounds, so the Maroons will take it.
Yeah, it's happened a couple times today. That field is super slick. Got to be careful of planting your foot.
Yeah, always the right footing is important depending upon the conditions.
And the left footing as well.
He'll be here all night, ladies and gentlemen. Alex Reed.
Hey, it was an A+ for effort.
That's right. And the play along the far side as the Eagles will kick this one in. Players are assembling in front of the box. And the kick on its way, headed in towards the attack area. Knocked back out by the Maroons. Eagles look to pressure some more. And Millington was able to push it ahead towards the near sideline. Ball booted way up in the air. Header coming down, but out of bounds. Eagles thought touched it last, but no. Now the throw in to Christian Meyer. Meyer has it, knocked down from behind. Foul is going to be called on Carter Romero. So Romero whistled for the foul. And Meyer back on his feet. So there's an opportunity here for the Eagles with the kick. And it's on its way. Chip towards the box. And goes wide. And rolls over the goal line. Hill Bonin having a conversation with the official. He didn't like something he was seeing there. He still has his hands in the air. Didn't like what he was seeing there. As we're going to have a substitution now. And checking in, Gary Zhao. And checking out.
Looks like that's Max Lopez.
Yeah, Max Lopez checking out. He's got some facial hair going on right now. Wasn't used to that. Either that or it's just the shadows.
I'd imagine you'd want to have some facial hair.
Today, yeah, I'd probably want to be the Wolfman today. And a little collision along the near side, but neither player worse for wear. Isaiah Holquist battling. Now the ball goes inside Eagles territory, chipping that to the far side. Tyler Santee for the Eagles. And now long boot inside the Maroons territory. Stacy Ryman is going to try and track it down. He's looking to let it roll over the end line. And this will be a goal kick for Hill Bonin and the Maroons. 6:34 to play, 1-0 in favor of University of Chicago.
I guess so. But still, I mean, like that is a perfect angle to score from.
As Bonin gets ready to size this up from the right corner of the goal box. And he gets it up to midfield. Timing the header was Abedian. And pushes it over to the far side. Eagles knock it back. And now Millington has it for the Maroons. He drops it back. Coe pushing it inside to Romero. Back to Millington. Millington running in. Collision. Gallagher comes out there with the ball. Boy. Gallagher again playing so strong for the Eagles. As the Maroons had several prime opportunities in this game, but he's been the difference from keeping this one a bigger bulge than it is right now. Looks like Christian Meyer checking out, being subbed for right now. Now Millington to Romero. Dropping it back to Holquist. Ball rolls out of bounds. Deflected out by the Eagles. Holquist with the throw-in. He'll look for an outlet. And gets it to Millington, who heads it forward. Taken away by Santee and the Eagles. And Mustafa Khattab chests that ball down. Eagles look to pressure. Holquist intercepts the pass attempt. And now here comes Carter Romero. He's being flagged down from behind, however, by Suru. And now Gary Zhao on the end line, knocked out. And it looks like it's going to be a corner kick for the Maroons. And Matthew Coe will take that kick. Checking in now is Ben Brandt.
Carter Romero coming up.
For Romero, right.
Yeah.
And that kick goes deflected out by the Eagles, getting all the way up towards midfield, near midfield. Maroons look to take possession back. Stacy Ryman punched it over towards Millington. Millington had to duck there. That shot whistled just past his head. Now the ball inside Maroons territory. Nate Johnson foots it ahead. Eagles take it back. Now the Maroons will take it one more time. Johnson pushing it over to Holquist. Holquist along the near side now. Ben Brandt has it. Brandt moving the ball ahead for the Maroons. Drops it back to Andre Abedian. Abedian Chipping it towards the box. Streaking was Gary Zhao, with Cole Gallagher there to intercept the ball before Zhao could do any damage. The ball up to the center circle where the big University of Chicago C logo resides. Mustafa Khattab feeding it over to Adam Ferguson. And now further inside is William Jones. Jones, one of the substitutions who came in for the Eagles, is able to get a shot off. Players collide there. Whistle sounds. And now some more disbelief from the Maroons players as Holtquist having words with the official, as well as head coach Mike Bapps.
It was a gutsy play from Isaiah Holtquist to turn back in rather than just kind of boot it out and concede a corner. Turned back over his left shoulder and kicked that one up to, I believe that was Ben Brandt.
An official coming over to coach, telling him to rein it in a little bit. Now play has resumed. Zhao gets it over to Millington, who chips it over to the far side. Maroons will look to take the ball back, and they'll do that. Isaiah Holtquist near side. Chipping it ahead. Brandt will push it over to Millington. Now Brandt pushed down from behind, no call. Eagles push the ball away. Holtquist intercepts. Holtquist doing a good job carrying the ball into the zone and feeding it over to Coe. Coe has it. Chips it ahead. Scott Lick. Lick. Chip toward the box. Deflected into the hands of Cole Gallagher as he evades a couple Maroons players and gets that ball out towards midfield, rolling along the far sideline. Maroons will get there first, but it rolls out of bounds. And they're going to say Maroons ball with the throw-in. No, yeah. Scott Lick will take the throw-in.
That back line for the Maroons really has to keep on their toes. Gallagher loves hitting it deep.
He does. He really got that ball up there and a good shot.
1 minute.
And it's a good transition tool if you have a goalkeeper who can move the ball that quickly. You just have to have the players who are able to track it down. And like you said, Alex, the defenders have to be on their toes and be aware that that weapon's there all the time. We're under a minute to play, 44 seconds to be exact, as Isaiah Holtquist takes the ball and pushes it ahead to midfield. Andre Abedian will chip it towards the far corner. And Coe, that's going to go out of his range and roll over the end line. Goal kick coming for Cole Gallagher. And here we go. Just 20 seconds remaining. Gallagher gets it to the midfield circle, headed back by the Maroons and Abedian. And now heading towards the box. Bonen's going to come out and play it as he'll let time wind down. And the first half has concluded. Halftime score is the University of Chicago 1 and Emory University 0. And Alex, your thoughts on this first half of play?
Well, fantastic stuff so far. Really great goal. Obviously, the Max Lopez goal being a great opportunity there from Matthew Coe.
Header on its way towards the box, off the post and in!
No, they called
advance here with 36 minutes remaining in the first half. Chipped from the corner.
Second half was that goal that was taken off of the books. Still 1-0 for the Maroons. Different scenario than their last game, as we were talking about, and that was a fantastic save by the Eagles. They did such a good job, and Gallagher's had himself quite a fine night and several great chances. That last one was a punch out of the just really a reactionary punch from Gallagher to save that one away. But Gallagher really has kept his team and his Eagles into this game.
He really has, and it's only a 1-0 deficit for the Eagles. So definitely in this game, both teams will regroup here at halftime. Eagles will talk about their strategy and what they need to do to knot this one up. And for the Maroons, what can they do to add and keep the pressure on and find a solution to get another one past Cole Gallagher? All right, we're going to take a break here for halftime. Halftime score, University of Chicago 1 and the Emory University Eagles 0. And we'll be back for second half play here on the Maroons Broadcast Network. And welcome back to Stag Field here on the campus of the University of Chicago. We're getting ready for second half action between the University of Chicago men's Maroons soccer team and Emory University. Winner goes to the Final Four in Greensboro, North Carolina. That's what's at stake here. Eric Willowite along with Alex Reed. And Alex, got some first half highlights to go through.
Yeah, we got to see a pretty great first half. This is the goal of fantastic play in from Scott Lick and a beautiful header to score for Max Lopez. And then this one, probably the most critical call of the game, that play where a lot of contact between Max Lopez and the defenseman, that was called a no goal. And then a beautiful play in. Great save there from Cole Gallagher, and another great save here from Cole Gallagher. This one was purely reactionary off the fist. Cole Gallagher has had quite a first half, and he hopes to keep his team into the game again. But a couple of fantastic chances there from that Cole Gallagher took away from the University of Chicago. I'd probably call those A+ chances that he snagged away. So this will be an exciting second half.
Shots in the first half, Emory University 2 and the University of Chicago 7. Corner kicks there were 3, all 3 coming from University of Chicago. And Hill Bonin so far pitching a shutout. Cole Gallagher, aside from that first goal by Lopez, has been outstanding, as you mentioned, Alex, and you went through that highlight package.
Well,
so.
I'm not sure it was Cole Gallagher's fault that goal got in. I mean,
true.
He's done a fantastic job. I think he's not done anything wrong. He's made some fantastic saves when he's had to. Obviously, that goal called off. A lot of contact between the defenseman and Max Lopez in that play. So, yeah, it was a physical first half. It'll be kind of interesting to see how both teams adjust to having the flipped wind conditions here. And, yeah, it should be a fantastic second half.
Yeah, the one thing that might do, Alex, is I'm not going to say it's going to neutralize Cole Gallagher with the kicks that he does to kind of transition the offense, transition from defense to offense for his team, but it is going to have some impact kicking into that wind. Likewise, for Hill Bonin, he'll have the wind at his back, so that'll give him a little bit of an extra advantage when he tries his goal kicks. But playing into it, and then the corner kicks, as you mentioned, just keeping the ball down when you have a wind that is gusting this strong. Again, the winner of this game goes on to the Final Four here in NCAA Division III play. Final Four is in Greensboro, North Carolina. So we get ready for second half action. The Maroons and their home whites will be going left to right here in the second half. And then the Eagles, Emory University Eagles, in their blue, gray, and white uniforms, or blue, gray, silver uniforms, right to left. We're underway here in the second half. 1-0 lead for the Maroons. As the ball chipped back inside the Eagles zone. Lopez pressuring for the Maroons immediately. And that ball rolls to the far side. Eagles look to get it inside the Maroon zone. They do for the moment. Now they'll drop it back. Far side.
Someone says that our audio sync might be off 3 to 5 seconds.
All right, now the ball inside the zone. And taking the ball for the Eagles is Cody Gardner. Gardner will push it up. Lopez again pressuring towards the far side as Emory looks to establish some offensive zone time. Gardner has it again, near sideline, boots it upfield. It's it over to Mustafa Khattab, and now back to Gardner. Gardner trying to get it cross over to Christian Meyer, but that was gummed up by the Maroons. Eagles still pursuing zone time. Ball's going the other way, however. Matthew Coe streaking down the far side. And a good slide tackle there by Gardner to push the ball out of bounds. And it's going to be an Eagles throw-in. They're saying last off of Coe. Good defensive play there by Gardner on the streaking Matthew Coe. Now falling down was Abedian. Ball headed back by Capitosto inside the territory. Lopez gets off a shot. Wild shot that goes wide right of Cole Gallagher over the end line, and he'll have a goal kick. All right, now the ball, here comes Cole Gallagher. Again, this first attempt into the wind, you can see, Alex, that ball knocked down well short of midfield. Something he's going to have to take into account now. Obviously, you're going to have to get a lower trajectory on it to get a little more distance. Ball playing inside Eagles territory, now pushed inside the Maroons territory. Christian Meyer doing a good job. Ball goes out of bounds. And we're going to get our first corner kick here for the Eagles.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for the Eagles. We were talking about this earlier before the break, in the first half, that this side of the field, it actually might benefit to have the wind against you.
Kick on its way, headed into the net. Just like that, Emory University ties it up. Right off the corner kick, and the fans from Emory University cheering loudly as the Eagles, coming out of the halftime break, have tied things up here 1-1. It might have been Michael Carragher with the goal.
That was all set up by Christian Meyer, who had a great run, once again streaking and creating on his own with just sheer speed and determination. Fantastic job there, all tied up.
All right, so all tied up here with 41-39 remaining in the second half. So back on equal footing for both teams. And again, here's where that level of confidence for Emory coming now. They're all back tied up with the Maroons. And so in a situation like this, Alex, where does the pressure fall? Which team is the pressure on right now?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that there is much pressure. You're just kind of playing right now. For the most part, oh, what a beautiful ball in to the center. It was too bad that there was nobody there sitting in the box for the Maroons.
Lopez did a good job of getting that ball into the box. But as you said, Alex, no one there to chip it in. Coe has it now, near side, over to Lopez. Lopez chips it back to Scott Lick. Scott Lick turns around and pushes it back to Stacy Ryman. Ryman will drop it back to Nate Johnson. Johnson will push it over to Isaiah Holquist along the far side. Holquist has the ball taken away. And pushed down from behind, or falling, was Holquist. But Ryman heads it out of there to Scott Lick. He's in a battle. And now Matthew Cole will join the fray and chip it ahead. Knocked down by the Eagles. Actually kind of pushed it back towards his zone. And now Max Lopez feeding it inside. Adeosun has it. Adeosun push from behind, and they're going to call it an Eagles ball with the throw-in. Quick throw-in now to Mustafa Katab. And Katab over to Adam Ferguson. And now pushing the ball further is Tyler Santee. He has the ball stolen away. Here come the Maroons. Max Lopez tried to feed Coe, but it went behind him. He's going to have to backtrack towards the near sideline. Katab pressuring. Now Lopez again, once again, gets it to Matthew Coe. Coe, two defenders on him, pushes it to Scott Lick, who drops it back to Stacy Ryman. Ryman is pushing it over to the far side to Nate Johnson. Gets it over to Isaiah Holquist at the midfield stripe. And chipped in further, but taken away by Evan Flourish and the Eagles. 1-1 game. The early second half goal, and again, we believe that goal was scored by Michael Carragher. As now Cole Gallagher will chip the ball ahead, knocked down by Lopez, but no one there. And now Scott Lick will push it ahead into the Eagle zone to Coe, back to Lopez. Lopez feeding Adeosun. The Eagles were able to get on top of that one before a play could develop. Now Carter Romero is going to try and flag that ball on the far side, but it's going to be Eagles ball. And the ball coming in to goalkeeper Cole Gallagher. He's going to place it down. And angling towards the far sideline. Now it goes to center circle where Scott Lick will push it into Eagles territory, but it's knocked back out.
The level of physicality has definitely picked up since that goal was scored by the Eagles.
Yeah, that's an excellent observation, Alex. And it's probably only going to get even more so again with what's at stake here between both teams. Not much to give out there between both teams, so the battles, especially these one-on-one battles, you're going to see a lot of contact. As the ball goes to the far side.
Well, it seems like the refs have let the players kind of decide it for themselves.
Yeah, there hasn't been anything, in terms of dirty play. Nothing kind of was crossing the line like the match that the Eagles had against Mary Hardin Baylor yesterday. That one was really on the chippy side. As Scott Lick slips but gets the ball towards the box, knocked away by the Eagles. Lick still pursuing. Doing a good job here of forcing the issue. Kicking it out of bounds, but it's going to be Eagles ball. That's Scott Lick pressuring for the Maroons from his defensive zone. And now Ryman has the ball taken away by Katab. No, that's Nate Johnson. Katab bringing the ball inside. Johnson pushing him to the near corner. Now on the end line.
Great job taking that away by Nate Johnson.
And now the Maroons look to push it up. Andre Abedian will drop it back. As the Maroons will look to reestablish now. Scott Lick up along the near sideline. Matthew Coe inside to Adeo Sun. Back to Coe. Coe along the near side, but it's out of range. And it rolls out of bounds. And again, a throw in coming for the Eagles. At 36-minute mark of the second half, we're all knotted up at 1 goal apiece. Lopez in the first half for the Maroons and Carragher for the Eagles, and that's where we stand 1-1. Christian Meyer battling again along the far sideline. He was the impetus for that corner kick that led to the goal, and another shot goes wide. Christian Meyer, again, the man of action for the Eagles, Alex, causing all sorts of havoc along the sides.
He's been a real catalyst for the Eagles in this opening 10 minutes of the second half.
He's just, his level of speed and pursuit is just hard to match. And now the ball over towards midfield, Matthew Coe. And we have a player knocked down, so we're going to have a foul against the Maroons.
Maybe took a foot to the face. Kind of looks like it. That's where he's grabbing.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. That's Cody Gardner, I believe. Number 5. And now Daoud over to Mustafa Katab along the near side. He's being pressured by Scott Lick. Katab will drop it back. Battling with Daoud. Daoud will drop it back to goalkeeper Cole Gallagher. Now Gallagher chips it to the center circle. Abedian tries to intercept. Karam's off, rolls out of bounds. This will be a throw-in. Evan Florish will throw it in for the Eagles right at midfield. Gets the ball inside. And chipped ahead towards the midfield stripe. Maroons take possession. Chip long chip shot that's going to roll into the hands of Gallagher, and he'll immediately push it over to the near sideline. Datonye takes it, and he'll push it to the far side again. Once again, Christian Meyer. Meyer drops it back to Flourish. Meyer takes it again, chips it to midfield. And now trying to get it inside. Datonye battling with Scott Lick. He's going to push it towards the end line, and it's going to roll over. And a goal kick coming for the Maroons. A couple good rushes here for the Eagles along this near side, Alex, but both cases are coming up empty. But you can definitely tell the Eagles have the momentum swing on their side after that equalizer.
Yeah, not a lot of chances for the Maroons in this second half so far. The Eagles have come out and really matched it and played with a lot of urgency.
Now Meyer takes the ball away. It's taken away by the Eagles, but foul called. Evan Flourish will have the restart kick for the Eagles. 32-32 to play in the second half. We're all knotted up at 1 goal apiece. The winner goes on to the Final Four of the NCAA Division III men's soccer in Greensboro, North Carolina. Ball chipped inside Maroons territory. That's punched back out by the Maroons. Adeosun knocks it down. Eagles come back up with possession along the far side. Adeosun has it midfield, gets it over to Matthew Coe. Coe has Adeosun to his left, stops, and chips it over to the far side. Ball coming in, shot towards the box. It's in there. Gallagher easily able to track that down. Even with the wind pushing it in there, he was able to size that one up easily, run out, grab it, and haul it down for his Eagles as he's getting ready for the kick. Low bouncing kick intercepted by the Maroons at the midfield stripe and knocked back inside Eagles territory. Eagles trying to punch it back out. And Abedian punches it further inside Eagles territory. Matthew Coe chasing it down. Ball rolls out of bounds. Foul called on Coe.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
It looked like he kind of tripped on himself, and Matthew Coe was just in the vicinity. Didn't look like a lot of contact, especially with a lot of the stuff that they've let go here in this second half.
Good point on that. So, but play on now. And so Daoud will take the kick for the Eagles. He gets a good kick on it against the wind, gets it inside the zone. Header went off of Scott Lick, who pushes it up to midfield. Ball taken away from Mustafa from behind. Now Mustafa Katab has it, stolen away by Adeosun. And now Lopez, and Adeosun overran the ball. Here come the Eagles, go the other way. Katab circling, looking for an outlet. And he's going to get it over to Jason McCartney, the leading goal scorer for the Eagles on the season. Adeosun tried to get the ball, and doing a good job there was Cody Gardner to punch that further in. Katab over to Datonye, to McCartney. McCartney had the ball knocked out. It goes out of bounds. We're going to have throw-in coming for, actually this will be a corner. Ball on its way towards the box, headed out by the Maroons. Knocked back down. Adeosun grabs it, however, and he's going to stop. He had 3-4 defenders on him, so he did good just to maintain possession for the Maroons. Now the ball punch cross over to Max Lopez, trying to feed it into Coe. Coe has it, stops, circles. Left foot shot, and that's blocked by the Eagles. Now Stacy Ryman joining the fray along the near sideline. Ball rolls over the end line. And we're going to get a corner kick for the Maroons. So lots of end-to-end action going on right now, Alex. Things have opened up a bit. Corner kick coming. Matthew Coe will take it here in the near corner. Dio Adioson there along with Coe. Coe's going to chip it towards the box. Headed off the crossbar, headed back out. Unbelievable. Lopez fires a shot. That ricochets off of legs in the box and comes back out towards midfield. Maroons try and keep it in, and they do. Matthew Coe feeding it to a scrum of players. It gets knocked over the sideline. Boy, another opportunity for the Maroons there. And it headed off the crossbar. Otherwise, that's a 2-1 lead for the Maroons. As coming to take the throw-in will be Scott Lick.
That was a much-needed run there for the Maroons. They'd kind of been playing on their heels most of this second half.
Yeah, a lot of times offense is about confidence, and there's a certain swagger you have to play. That's what we're looking for here for both teams. Now the ball rolled over the end line. This will be a goal kick for the Eagles. And Cole Gallagher, 27:34 remaining. 1-1 is our score. Gallagher with the kick. He gets that one short of midfield, but headed by Christian Meyer and booted back into Eagles territory by the Maroons. Now it's knocked back up towards the far side, out of the reach of Meyer. And we'll have a throw in for the Maroons along the far side. Quick inbounds. Ball taken away by the Eagles. Pushing it ahead and flagging that ball down, Stacy Ryman. And now another throw in for the Eagles. They get it in quickly. Katab over to Christian Meyer. Christian Meyer, far corner. Ball knocked away, stolen by the Maroons. Adeosun has it along the far sideline. Stops, chips it, cross pass. And that's pushed over to Scott Lick, who's got a head of steam, gets it to Matthew Coe. Coe feeds it over to Scott Lick in front of the Maroons bench. Back to Coe. Coe looking for an outlet, pushes it, crossing. Headed out of there nicely by Evan Flourish, getting that ball out of danger for the Eagles, but the Maroons maintain possession. Now the Eagles take it. Up along the far side, Katab. Katab has it. Spins. We'll wait for some more players to join the fray for the Eagles offense party. And push it to the far side. And now the ball is going to come over to the near side. And that's flagged down by Cody Gardner of the Eagles, who's going to try to feed it to McCartney along the near side. Check that. That's Dotney. Dotney has it. Oh, nice spin move. Puts a left foot on it. Off of Hill-Bonin and over the end line. We're going to get a corner kick for the Eagles. As Dotney did a nice move to his left and got the shot off. That kind of handcuff Hill-Bonin. He was able to stop it, but it bounded over the end line. Corner kick coming for the Eagles from the near corner.
Yeah, the Eagles have really liked that matchup on the near side against Scott Lick in the second half.
Yeah, they've been focusing on here is that pressure along the lines. Kick on its way, headed out by the Maroons. And Adeosun is trying to track that down along the far sideline. Now Flourish will push it back into the zone. That'll go out of bounds, interrupting that drive for the Maroons. And now they'll look to restart possession here.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Maroons haven't tried to do that a little bit more. The Eagles are really pressing, and they're playing a lot of guys in the attacking zone. I'd imagine that the Maroons would want to get on the counterattack, and that was a 2-on-2 break that was starting.
And we get a foul here against the Eagles. And now the Maroons will restart action here along the far sideline. Free kick coming. 23:56 remaining. Here in the second half, we're all knotted up at 1 goal apiece. And now we're going to have the restarts. I think the win was moving the ball. I think it did again. A little stop and start. Ball angling towards the box, headed up in the air, still in the air. One more time. Gallagher tried to go for it, and it's headed wide of the net.
Whew. What a good chance there.
That was something.
It seemed like the goalie Gallagher, he jumped up a little bit too soon on that play. Kind of got himself out of position, and the ball just kind of hung up in the air.
Yeah, well, and he was trying to grab it from behind too. So it's a difficult play for Gallagher, no matter when he timed his leap. You know, and that's just the trick. It's with those headers, and you're the goalie trying to defend that. It's all about timing. And you're right, he got hung up there jumping early, and he's just fortunate that Maroons weren't able to put it into the net. Adeosun is able to knock that ball down, but the Eagles do a good job of getting it outside the box. Abedian has the ball now. Andre Abedian has the ball taken away. Here come the Eagles looking to push it the other way.
Great couple of possessions there from Chicago Maroons.
Christian Meyer has it. Now punches it to Katab. Katab to the far side. Spin move for the Eagles. And they'll drop it back. Now inside the zone. Eagles still battling. They still have the ball knocked down from behind. And we get another foul called against the Maroons. So we got a free kick coming for the Eagles. It's at the 30-yard line here on the football field. Kick coming on its way. Chip shot. Angling, headed back out of there. Nicely done, Max Lopez. Get that ball out of danger. And now Christian had his arms up in the air. All right, so what's going on here? We're waiting for the reset. Stacy Ryman's going to drop the ball down. Maroons maintain possession. 21-26 remaining in the half. Winner advances to the Final Four in Greensboro. Lopez heads it over to Adeosun, knocks it down, tried to get past his defender.
Oh, my goodness.
And we got a foul called? No.
It looked like Adeosun got clotheslined on that play. Kind of saw him stick out his arm to his chest and knocked him straight down.
And he's arguing with the official, but again, to no avail.
I think he wanted a penalty shot.
Just outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so foul called. He's just disputing where it happened, but Adeosun's going to get the kick nonetheless. Not the penalty shot, but the free kick coming. Adeosun will take it.
Be kind of interesting to see what the Maroons want to do. If they want to work the ball over to the weak side or the far side and try to get across into the box. Yeah.
And taking the kick, firing the shot was Matthew Coe. Rebound score! Max Lopez. He is fired. Oh, they're calling offsides, and he is hot.
Oh, my goodness. That is the second time that has called. Wow.
And now they're talking it over. The officials are talking it over. Let's see if they're going to change it.
This could be a very big call in this game.
He's talking. We're going to see what's happening here. Both officials are discussing it along the near corner. As Lopez had put that ball in the back of the net, the ruling by the side official was offsides.
It was a header from our player. No, Nathan, our player, headed it after. Yeah.
Yeah, and they confirmed that ruling over there on the side. And they're giving an explanation to the Maroons bench. Goodness, that is the second goal that they have taken away on a missed run.
3 goals total against these Eagles. 1 in the regular season game, which again didn't have the same bearing as it does on this game, but 2 in this game, and that's got to sting. All right, so we're still tied up at 1, just over 20 minutes remaining. As Gallagher gets that kick over midfield, the wind kind of died down a little bit, and he was able to get that kick a little deeper on that attempt. Now let's see what happens here with the Maroons and the Eagles. Who is going to respond? Are the Maroons able to push through some adversity here, losing the 1-goal lead and then having this goal waved off? Will the Eagles be able to press on from this moment and capture the lead?
A lot of contact once again on that far side.
All right, ball out of bounds. This will be an Eagles throw-in. No, this will be Eagles kick. Foul called, so the Eagles will take the kick near the far side.
Goodness, plenty of plot twists in this game
Tell me
so far.
about it.
Goodness.
Good theater. Glad you're watching here on the Maroons Broadcast Network. NCAA Division III sectional final playoff here at Stagg Field on the University of Chicago's campus. University of Chicago taking on Emory University. And winner moving on to the Final Four in Greensboro. Foul called against the Eagles. And now Ryman will take the kick for the Maroons. Some tense moments now for players and fans alike. Ball kicked deep by Ryman, headed into the air by Lopez. And now knocked down Romero, flagging the ball down, trying to get a foot on it. But it's not pushed away by the Eagles all the way up to midfield where Nate Johnson
called another foul there, I believe, on Adeus. And goodness gracious, fouls galore.
Well, you talked about the level of physicality increasing as we got deeper into the second half, and that's something that we've seen a little bit. Now Gallagher will take the kick for the Eagles and gets it up to the midfield line, knocked down. Coe pushing it by Romero. That's going to go into the hands of Gallagher before Max Lopez could get there. Coe tracking the ball down along the near side. And there's going to be a foul called against the Eagles. Dotney. Now Coe with the kick to restart. And here's Coe's kick. It's a good chunk on that one, headed, and that's well over the net. And opportunity goes astray for the Maroons. And Cole Gallagher will now take the kick for the Eagles. Just under 17 minutes to play now in the second half.
That was a well-placed kick there from Matthew Coe. Just couldn't quite get enough of his head on it.
Ball goes towards the center circle, headed down by the Maroons, but the Eagles take possession, getting it over to Christian Meyer. Christian Meyer battling with Holquist along the far sideline. There have not been any substitutions here in the second half that I recall.
No, I don't believe there have been either. Both teams trusting their guys to play it out and settle this.
Yeah, if you're not taking anyone out, I'm not taking anyone out. So.
Right.
All right. Katab has it far sideline, battling. That's going to be a Maroons ball with the throw in. Waiting to get set here as that ball needs to be placed a little further back closer towards the far corner. Now the throw in coming for the Maroons. That's headed upfield.
Yeah, these last 15 and a half minutes are going to be pretty tense, I'd imagine.
Ball knocked down by the Eagles, and that's headed away. That was Capitosto who headed that ball upfield. Now he's shaken up. He's back on his feet, but took the worst of it from that header attempt to get the ball upfield. And he's shaken up, official walking by his side there. And just like that, we have a substitution for the Eagles. I believe that's Michael Steer, who's getting ready to check in for the next substitution moment.
Yeah, just as soon as we were talking about no substitutions, right?
Yeah. And now Abedian pushes that ball ahead. Gallagher is going to track it down before Romero could get there for the Maroons. So Cole Gallagher will take the ball with just over 15 minutes to play here in the second half. Again, we're all knotted up at 1 in this sectional final. And Gallagher gets it out to midfield. That's chipped back in by the Maroons.
Wow.
Calling an offsides again. Offsides call here, and Maroons definitely not agreeing with the officials on these last few plays here, but we play on. Now Katab on the far side. Ball is intercepted by the Maroons. They'll push it up, but it'll go out of bounds. We're going to have substitution now. Steer is coming in for the Eagles. Michael Steer. And checking out, is that Meyer?
Yeah, looks like Christian Meyer coming out of the game.
All right, Christian Meyer checking out.
I'd imagine they're giving him a quick breather. He's been doing a lot of work on that far side.
So give him a quick breather. Yeah, just like you said, Alex, give him a quick breather so he's got a little bit of a burst here for the remaining minutes. Let's see if that's something that the Maroons can capitalize on, as that's a big weapon off the field for the Eagles for the moment. Ball chipped to Scott Lick along the near sideline. He's going to stop spin. And then a nice drop pass to Matthew Coe. Coe's going to take it towards the near corner, chip it towards the box. Header, and that spun out of the way as Lopez tried to get a piece of that one, but went awry.
What a beautiful feed in there by Matthew Coe.
Yeah, it just shows how quick they can transition. Quick strike offense the Maroons have. And that scoring attempt went wide. Eagles push the ball ahead. Scott Lick tries to stop it. Eagles push it back. Head it to the midfield stripe. Knocked back in by Stacy Ryman. Ball tried to head it back down. I think both players missed it. Now Lopez comes down with it. Stops, spins, chips it towards the box. Adeo's son has it. Knocks it down. They're calling hand. Yes, they are. Handball. And Gallagher will take it now for the kick for the Eagles. We're getting into that territory. Well, it's still a lot of time to play, Alex, but overtime looming as a possibility here.
Yeah, I mean, there's more than enough time here to have this settled in regulation, but, yeah, nothing more stressful than overtime, I tell you that.
All right, now the ball playing along inside Eagles territory. Eagles playing a little giveaway or keep away right now. And they'll chip it ahead. Nate Johnson will push it further inside Eagles territory. Adeo's son knocked it down. Tries to get the ball back. Eagles take possession. And they'll get the ball over closer towards the near sides now as Dotney has it. Gets it to Katab. Katab back to Dotney. Dotney gets through. Intercepting the ball was Bedian trying. But now the ball is going to roll over to Hill Bone, and we haven't mentioned his name in a long time. Now he'll pick it up. And the drop kick on the way, taking advantage of the gusty winds, gets that deep inside Eagles territory. That's headed back out by the Eagles, but knocked back down by the Maroons. Now Matthew Coe trying to chase it down along the end line. That's going to keep in bounds. The wind might have kept that one in. Scott Lick has it. Chips it towards the box. There's a couple players inside, and it's going to roll over the end line. And it's Eagles ball. Coming in now for the Eagles, Corey Levine checking in. Number 18. And checking out will be Michael Carragher, the lone goal scorer for the Eagles. Katab has it. Mustafa Katab near side. Ball rolls out of bounds. This will be Dotney with the Eagles throw in. Gets it to Levine, who just entered the game. Daleson has it. Trying to ward off a defender. He does. But the Eagles take the ball back. McCartney now pushing it over to Sante. Sante to Evan Flourish. They're going to drop it back inside Eagles territory, where Cody Gardner will take it for Emory. Scott Lick intercepts the ball on the near sideline. Here come the Maroons the other way. Lick pushing it inside to Lopez. Lopez spins, trying to feed Adeason. Eagles interrupt that play, but the Maroons still maintain possession. Now Adeason along the near sideline, going along the end line, chipping it towards the box. Gallagher's going to come out and intercept that ball. Before any damage can happen, he'll take it with 9:17 remaining here in second half. We're all tied up at 1. Gallagher was looking for an outlet. Now he's going to do the drop kick. Kind of short kick there. But the Eagles were able to come up with it eventually. Dotney is going to have to chase it. It might roll out of bounds. He gets there first, however, and saves it. And Mustafa Katab pushing it over. Going to feed it inside to McCartney. Dotney has it, tried to feed it back to McCartney. Scott Lick will take the ball for the Maroons. Adeosun has it up along the near sideline. Slows, gets it to Max Lopez, who stumbles a bit. He gains his feet and gets it to Matthew Coe. Coe's going to push it over to the far side now. And the Maroons will look to set up shop from the far side. Andre Abedian trying to move inside, had the ball taken away. Here come the Eagles the other way. Katab gets around 3 defenders and pushes it over to Levine. Knocked down. Now here comes Capitosto. Capitosto, he had the ball knocked away, and the Eagles go the other way. They're over at midfield now. And they're going to slow it down and look to set up along the far side. Now pushing the ball. Flourish does a good job trying to keep it in. But rolls out of bounds, and this will be a Maroons throw-in. 7:32 remaining.
It's interesting to see kind of the change in tactics. The Eagles put in 2 substitutes. The University of Chicago has nobody up even warming. Curious.
So more than likely going the distance here are the starters through the entire second half, given the magnitude of the game. But you're right, Alex. You know, someone out there is tired or maybe need a breather. But with what's at stake, players are going to push through. But, you know, will the fresh legs, the 2 fresh legs that the Eagles inserted, make a difference? You know, remains to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a misnomer. You'd think that having fresh legs out there would help.
They're cold fresh legs. At least for until they get loosened up here. All right, now the Eagles have the ball on the near sideline. Dotney has it. He'll cut towards the inside, trying to feed it inside the box. Nobody's there for the Eagles. That'll roll over the end line. And Hilbonen will take the goal kick. And the wind gusting again, so let's see what type of kick he gets here. He's able to push it far. Gets a lot of air on it, low. It's over midfield, but headed back by the Eagles. Knocked down by Holquist of the Maroons. who tries to chip it back. He does get it to Nate Johnson, and now Stacy Ryman. Ryman being pressured. Ryman pushes it ahead inside Eagles territory. But it's going to roll into the hands of Cole Gallagher. And now Christian Meyer getting ready to check in for the Eagles. So just like you said, Alex, Meyer able to get that breather. And so that might prove very beneficial to the Eagles if he's got a little extra burst of energy now than had he played all the way through that. So
you got about 10 minutes breather there.
We'll take any minute you can get right now. Adeosun has it, pushes it ahead. There's Capitosto, tries to chip it, and that's going to go out of bounds over the end line. Corner kick coming for the Maroons. And Matthew Coe is going to take that corner kick from the near corner. Big opportunity here right now. For the Maroons. Kick on its way. In the air. That's long, headed down. It went way past the goal line, not into the box and over the end line. So just a little too much on that one, Alex. And now we're going to have a substitution as Christian Meyer will enter back into the game.
Yeah, the wind's kind of playing tricks out there. It's almost gusting. It's kind of changed directions. At the beginning of the game, it was blowing almost straight north, which is straight right, but now it's blowing straight ahead, which is more of a northwest to west pattern. So it kind of plays funny stuff with the ball, especially in gusts.
Throw-in coming here for the Eagles. It was Dotney who was substituting out for Meyer coming in for the Eagles. Now Meyer pushing it over towards the far side. Maroons intercept. They'll look to get the ball upfield. They're being pressured from behind. That's going to be a foul called on the Eagles. So free kick coming up here for the Maroons. They'll enact it quickly. Now Stacy Ryman, strong foot, boots the ball inside the Eagles territory. They try and head it back out, knocked down by the Maroons. And player falls down, no call there made. And the ball on the far side. Eagles look to push it ahead. And the ball knocked out by the Maroons, so throw in coming for the Eagles. 3:15 to play here in the second half, all knotted up at 1. Overtime definitely looming now as a reality. Although funny things can happen, so still time for someone to put in the lead goal here. Will it happen, and who will it be? Adeosun has it right at the center logo for University of Chicago. Ryman will carry the ball up along the near sideline, eludes a defender, gets it over to Scott Lick. Scott Lick has it, chips it towards the box, and headed out of there. Nicely done. I believe that was Evan Flourish on that play. Adeosun pulled. He was pulled from behind. No call. Up in the air, and Gallagher grabs it. Boy, what a series of events there.
Wow, that was a lot of contact. Adeosun got yanked from behind. It was kind of a subtle move, but he kind of pulled him, had his arm pulled.
Yep.
But fantastic save there once again from Gallagher.
Now Gallagher coming out again as Lopez was beating in on the ball. Gallagher's been very busy here. And now here comes Christian Meyer. He's got a head of steam. Knocked down from behind. And no call. And we're going to have a throw in now for the Maroons as Scott Lick will take it in front of the Eagles bench. Referees letting things play on here as, you know, they're not going to let a foul probably dictate what's going to transpire for this game here at this point. It has to be something very flagrant for them to call it at this point. At least that's kind of how it seems.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. You know, letting the players really decide it for themselves. But I mean, you definitely do want to see it consistent and avoid a lot of these tough hits because there's a lot of contact going out here right now on both teams.
All right, now. Ball's over there.
1 minute remaining in the second half.
All right, kick on its way now. There it goes. Towards the box. Gallagher gets it. Just a little too much on that kick. Went right into the hands of Gallagher. And we're under a minute to play. 42 seconds remaining here in the second half. And then no score here in the remaining seconds. We'll have a 5-minute break before a 10-minute overtime period. Sudden victory. Here come the Eagles inside the zone, trying to get it over to Christian Meyer. He has it. Meyer chipping it towards the box, and it's going to roll towards the far side and out. And it'll be a throw in here for the Eagles, or for the Maroons, as time winds down here in the second half.
1-0.
And overtime it is.
That brings an end to regulation. We will now
So at the end of
go to
regulation time, the score is 1 goal apiece, 1 goal each half. First half goal scored by Max Lopez. Second half score scored by Michael Carragher for the Eagles. And we are all knotted up at 1 apiece as we head to overtime. Again, there'll be a 5-minute break between overtime periods.
We'll decide who advances.
And then we'll have a 10-minute overtime period. And if we're still knotted up after that, a second 10-minute. And then if nothing after that 10-minute, we'll move into the penalty kick section.
All right, so we'll break down some of the highlights from field. It actually might benefit to have the wind again. Looks like that first one is the goal. And a beautiful shot there from Emory. The Eagles did a fantastic job. That was the one that knotted it up. A good opportunity there once again for the Eagles. It was really dominated by the Eagles a ton, but a great chance there. That one was the one off of the top of the post. That was a heartbreaker. And then a wild one on that save. I mean, that just went nearly wide, and that was a fantastic one. That was the goal that was called off. And, yeah, quite a turn of events there that they ended up calling off that goal. And, you know, that's the hat trick of goals that have been called off against the University of Chicago against the Eagles this year.
That's not the kind of hat trick you want, but
no,
that's
no, definitely not. Yeah, but this game's going to come down to the wire. I mean, both teams have played really well. Fantastic response out of halftime immediately. I believe that was in 3 minutes into the second half that they came out and they scored a kind of a, as they call it in the business, a locker room goal. But fantastic job by the Eagles to respond. A couple of fantastic chances from both sides. Gallagher has remained very, very strong and solid in his net. And Hill Bonin really hasn't been challenged all too much besides a couple of saves. And he let in that goal in the second half. So, yeah, it'll be a lot of interesting as we get some extra free soccer.
Training staff loosening up some of the Maroons players here to our right. Working out the legs and possible cramping or just stretching them out just a bit to keep them warm. I guess the good thing for the Maroons and for the Eagles as well is the 5-minute breather in between play. So maybe knowing that if the game was heading to overtime, you had that 5 minutes to spare. Although you're not playing or planning for overtime, but that's what happened. So in essence, there's your breather for the Maroons and the Eagles, aside from the couple players who were substituted for the Eagles in the second half, notably Christian Meyer.
Yeah, you get a lot of talk about tactics. That's kind of what's going on in these huddles. Staying disciplined on your lines. Really want to make sure that your defense is talking and communicating. You're staying warm and fresh out there. You really want to communicate with your back line and talk about the tactics if you want to change up a formation going into this overtime, or more likely just going through the formation, doing the usual rundown and making sure that everybody stays disciplined and focused on the job at hand. This is going to be an important overtime for both of these teams. it's really down to the players' hands at this point. The coaches, the coaches' work is done.
Coach's work is long since done at this point.
Yeah.
It's everything they've trained for all season long coming to a head in a 10-minute overtime period. Sudden victory. Players are ready to go. Both teams have huddled up. The Maroons now will be going right to left, and the Eagles left to right. And the winner moves on to the Final Four for the NCAA Division III men's soccer title. That will take place in Greensboro, North Carolina. But first things first, we have to decide a winner here, and we're going to start it with a 10-minute overtime period. Again, sudden victory, first team to score wins. They're waiting for the clock to stop, and we'll start it. 10 minutes on the clock. And we're ready to go, and the Maroons have the ball here in the overtime session. Again, moving right to left as they'll punch the ball inside the zone. Abedian pushes it over to the far side, Scott Lick. Now over to Lopez. Lopez trying to chip it inside to Carter Romero. Romero colliding with Adeo's son. Eagles push the ball out to midfield. Scott Lick will take the ball along the far sideline, punch it towards the box. That's going to roll over the end line and out. And a goal kick coming for Cole Gallagher. Gallagher has really played top-notch here, Alex. And I would have to give the nod to Gallagher as the player of the game so far between both teams based on his level of play. There's been outstanding play on both sides, definitely, but Gallagher's really been the one that stands out when you talk about some of the goals he's saved, especially in that first half.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you definitely read my mind. Really like the way that Gallagher's played out here tonight. He's really the MVP of this game so far, but still plenty of soccer to be played here, and
still things to be decided as the Maroons drop it back to reestablish here. They'll get the ball over to Nate Johnson, who gets it over to Holquist on the near side. Holquist trying to feed it into Adeo's son, and he has it, circles, and get enough on that pass, but he's able to chip it back, trying to get it back inside to Maroons territory. And now Stacy Ryman will chase it. He'll push it over to the far side. Scott Lick will carry it up along the far side and drop back out. Lick will go to the far corner. Tries to cross it to Adeo's son. Eagles punch it back out towards midfield. Ryman will track it down. It'll roll out of bounds. And a throw-in coming for the Maroons. Just under 8 minutes to play here in the first overtime. Scott Lick will take that throw-in. Right. Just inside of Maroons territory. Throw on the way. Knocked back out of bounds. And Lick throws it back inside. Here comes the ball. Eagles pressuring. Drop it back to Nate Johnson. Johnson has the ball bound off his foot, but he recovers. Tries to punch it ahead. And again, any little mistake will be magnified here. As the stakes are high for both teams.
Yeah.
And there's next goal wins.
It kind of feels like a mistake is going to be the difference maker in this game. It kind of feels like both of these teams are really even. You just kind of get that uneasy feeling in your stomach if you're either team, that you know that you can't make any mistakes and you have to make sure that you atone for them really quick.
Which then a lot of times when you get into these overtime periods, the level of play then starts to look like more trying not to make a mistake as opposed to forcing the issue. We'll see how that transpires, though. Now, Hill Bonin's going to have the goal kick. This time he's going against the wind, and he tries to get it up to midfield, but that wind knocks it down. Big difference between kicking in either direction there. Going into this knifing wind is not a bargain for the goalkeepers when you're on the right side here.
I mean, but the wind has changed so much. If you can take a look at the flag there at the middle of the field, it's almost blowing straight parallel with us as it was, straight horizontal. So the wind has changed again.
Lopez headed, pushed down from behind. Gallagher came out to meet him there. Now the ball on the end line. Spin move. Eagles take it away. Now they'll look to advance. Getting it up to midfield, Katab. Katab spins. Tries to get out of danger. Eagles are pursuing. Here comes Christian Meyer. And Bonen's going to have to come out and play that one with Meyer coming along. He can't take any chances. As the Emory fans were out of their seats with the streaking Meyer, looking for something good to happen for the team they root for, but Bonen came out to meet that one.
Great defense there from Isaiah Holquist. He read that run out of the out of the Eagles zone really well from Meyer, and he tracked him the entire way down.
It's one thing to read it, but then you have to stride leg for leg with him, and he did a good job of doing that. You're right, Alex. All right, pushing the ball over to the far side. Let's see if Scott Lick can get there and save it. He does. Good effort there by Lick. Ball pushed towards the box. Lopez in there, and that's headed out of there by the Eagles. And now we'll play a little keep away for the moment along the far side as the Eagles look to reestablish. Under 5 minutes to play here in the first overtime session. As the Maroons and Abedian push the ball ahead. Now along the far side, Daleson spins. Now we'll push it back. Coe chipping it in towards the box. That gets knocked over the end line and out. And it looks like we got a corner coming up.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for the Maroons.
Corner kick it is.
They've created a couple of really good chances out of their corner kicks tonight.
All right, let's see what happens. A big opportunity in overtime. Corner kick on its way for the Maroons. Here's the kick. Knifing towards the goal. Headed out of there by the Eagles. Nice job. Knocked down by Coe. And blasted. And a shot back into the hands of Cole Gallagher. Little flurry there for the Maroons, but the Eagles keep this game knotted up at 1, and Gallagher takes possession. Drop kick with the wind. He's got some good distance on it. Gets it to Katab. But the Maroons try and knock it back down and move the other way. Capitosto has it at midfield. 3:27 to play in the overtime period. And now Nate Johnson has it. Pushes it over to Isaiah Holquist, being pressured by Christian Meyer. Now Abedian to the far side, Scott Lick. Lick spins, knocked down. Ball taken away by the Eagles. And now Lick will try and fight and get the ball back. He does. And he'll have a throw in here as he gets it over to the far side now. And Stacy Ryman will take it. Ryman has it. Boots it over midfield. Adeosun there. Ball taken by the Eagles. And now the Eagles will look to reestablish. They'll slow things down. And the ball chipped over the midfield line and punched further inside. Going towards the far side are the Eagles. Streaking inside, stopping, spin. Ball taken away by the Maroons. Maroons have some numbers at the moment. Now they're pressuring it down. Stops. And crossing it over. Getting it to Isaiah Holquist. Holquist gets it back to Coe. Coe chipping it into Abedian. Abedian getting it back over to Lick. Ball kick well wide. That'll roll over the end line. A little too much on that kick. And the Eagles will take possession. 1:45 to play. Substitution for the Eagles. As coming in is William Jones. And checking out, I believe, is Gardner, Cody Gardner for the Eagles.
Interesting choice for Emory to put in Will Jones. He's only been in 3 games this season.
It's Adam Ferguson, my mistake, not Gardner, who was substituted out. Yeah, it's interesting, but again, maybe there's something Coach feels is of value in this overtime session in bringing in Jones. Now Meyer will inbound the ball. with just over a minute to play here in the overtime possession. Here's Christian Meyer. Chips it ahead. Bonen's going to have to play it. And he gets there before Meyer does.
50 seconds remaining in the first overtime.
As the first overtime is winding down here. And now Hill Bonin will kick that into Eagles territory, headed back by the Eagles. And they'll try and push it ahead to Kitab. And now this will be Maroons' ball with the restart. 23 seconds remaining. Ball chip into Eagles territory. They're going to be knocked down by the Eagles. Ball deflected. And it'll go on the far sideline. 10 seconds remaining here. Nate Johnson will take the ball as the first overtime period is about to expire. And it does. We've played through regulation and one 10-minute overtime period. And we're all knotted up at one apiece. So now we're going to have a 2-minute break in between overtime, and then we'll resume for overtime session number 2. Another 10-minute session. Again, sudden victory, instant death, however you want to refer to it. And the winner moving on to the NCAA Division III Final Four in Greensboro, North Carolina. So high stakes indeed for these teams and the fans who support them.
Yeah, high stakes and neither team each other. This has been fantastic soccer out here tonight. It's been a kind of a game of tactics. You've kind of seen how the tactics, especially with the wind and the breeze, how the gusts have kind of affected the style of play for both teams and how they've adjusted around it.
I know our cameraman, Sean Jarrett's wishing this game could go another 3 or 4 overtime periods. He's fighting through it, though, folks. He's been on board duty doing basketball earlier today, and now he's over at the soccer field. He is the Illinois Media School's utility player. He's everywhere on every broadcast, just about. And he'll be back here tomorrow for the Midway Classic as well. But he's going to sleep well tonight. But before he sleeps, we have to decide a winner in this match. As both teams now are huddled up, again, changing sides once again. Maroons going to move from left to right, and the Eagles from right to left. Cole Gallagher taking his spot in his net in his orange jersey, and Hill Bonin in green, going back to his net as well.
And there was a substitution during the break. It looks like Bryce Millington is now into the game.
All right, so Millington in.
Is that Matthew Coe that they took out?
It might have been. He was kind of
gassed out there.
A little gassed out there, so maybe this is an opportunity where they're going to give him a little bit more of a breather and maybe insert him in with like another 5 minutes left in the overtime, or we'll see.
Well, let's see how Millington plays. I'd love to see him get some extended minutes out here for Chicago, and this has been the first time that they've actually made a substitution since the first half.
That is true. That is true. Of course, when you talk about extended play, there's not too much time left for them to have extended play, but he is out here at a key moment right now. So let's see if Millington can add a spark to the Maroons. Adelson fighting along the near sideline. And again, they are all running out of gas there. Some of the energy and drive that you normally see from these players, they're all on fumes right now, but they know what's at stake, so there will be battles.
Yeah, it's just about adrenaline at this point.
Now Lopez still showing a lot of fight there, trying to track down that ball. Maroons keep the ball in, trying to keep it along the end line. That'll roll over the end line and out. And Cole Gallagher will take the goal kick for the Eagles. 8:39 to play in the second overtime. was about to say we're all tied up, but we're in overtime, so you probably assume that. 1-1 is the score,
Well,
however.
At least sudden death overtime.
Yes.
Yes.
That's true. It's not the college version.
Oh, yeah.
College football version. And Gallagher gets a good boot on it, and that's headed up by the Maroons. And now Katab has it along the near sideline. He'll spin. Drop it back to Dotney. Dotney has it. He's going to stop, drop, and set back up. Get it over to Mustafa Katab, being fronted by Scott Lick. Katab gets around him. Lick steals the ball back. Dotney tries to get it back for the Eagles, and he does. Push from behind by Millington, and there'll be a foul. Or they foul against the Maroons.
Well, it looks like it was on a Deoson.
Yeah, maybe a Deoson there.
Free kick and kind of a dangerous part of the field here for the Eagles.
All right, so Katab is going to take the kick here.
A couple players have, collided.
Katab's kick going towards the box, headed out by the Maroons. And now a player kind of slowed down was Lick. Headed back out. He was pulled from behind, trying to prevent that ball. And we're going to have the Maroons taking the goal kick as Hill Bonin will take it with 7:04 remaining in the second overtime period. Bonin waiting for the players to establish. Now he's directing traffic, looking for as the ball moves on him. That's when you got to send the player out to hold the ball down. Don't send Lucy out
wrong
there.
Football.
Yeah.
Wrong football.
All right, ball chipped ahead over the midfield stripe inside Eagles territory. Chipping it towards the box. Battle. Millington heads it down. And Lopez from behind. Here come the Eagles. Ball deflected off a Maroons player, so this will be a throw-in along the far side for the Eagles as they look to move it into the midfield stripe. And, yeah, so there is that breather for Matthew Coe. He was able to get about a 5-minute breather or so here. He's getting ready to check back in.
Along with that 2-minute
double team there. Eagles are able to get through it, however. Dotney pushing it over to Christian Meyer along the far sideline. Here come the Eagles. Look out for Dotney inside the box. Cross. Kicked up in the air. Header. Ball is loose. Dotney tries to get around. He does. Centers. Cross goes wide. And over the end line. Oh, my goodness.
My goodness. Wow.
That's about all you can say.
That's some gut-wrenching play there. Wow.
All right. Both fan base is fired up here as Matthew Coe checks back in. Bryce Millington checks out. Coe has got a little bit of a breather there, so let's see if that helped recharge his battery packs there. As Hill Bonin's going to take the kick with the wind at his back. Short kick, however. Didn't get as much on it as he'd like, but Coe will take it at midfield. Taken away by the Eagles. Roll out of bounds, and Scott Lick will take the throw in front of the Eagles bench with 4:41 remaining. Lopez heads it away. Tried to feed a Deoson. Eagles knock it back into Maroons territory. Intercepted by Lick. Now Capitosto battling there. And chipped up ahead to midfield. Lopez tries to head it down. Went over him. And now Matthew Coe trying to take the ball. Stops. Spins. Tries to get around two defenders. Circles. No one there. Did a good job to elude it, but it rolls out of bounds. This will be a throw-in for the Maroons. Now Scott Lick will have the throw-in near the near corner. Throw-in coming. Gets it to Lopez. Lopez has it back to Scott Lick. Scott Lick booting, angling, headed back out by the Eagles. Headed up in the air by Scott Lick. Headed back up one more time. Now kicked into the air. It's going to go over towards the far side. Christian Meyer is going to come out with it. The ball rolls out of bounds. And this will be a throw in for the Maroons once again. Maroons have the ball. Far side, Adeosun. Along the end line. Battling along the end line. Two players collide. And what's the call here? And we're going to get a foul against the Eagles.
Looks like they're calling for maybe a corner kick.
It's a foul, so they're just going to have the kick along the end line.
A pseudo corner kick.
Yeah.
In about 10 feet. There
Right,
you go.
yes.
Yeah.
All right. So Adeosun will be taking that kick here. 2:50 remaining as the clock winds down in the second overtime. Kick on its way. Angling, headed out of there by the Eagles. Nicely done. Maroons chip the ball back up in the air. Hang time is tremendous. Ball still, now it's knocked down, and it's going to roll over the end line. We're going to get a corner kick for the Maroons.
There you go. Back him up 10 feet and try again.
Yeah. Now with that crosswind you talked about, though, Alex, that'll have a little push against the ball. Let's see what kind of does with the angle. Circles. And headed out by the Eagles. They've done a nice job of defending those last two kick attempts by the Maroons. Now here comes Christian Meyer, intercepted by the Maroons. And now the Eagles try and push it back out. Maroons keep it back inside the zone. Maroons definitely pinching to keep that ball in. And we got a player down. And a yellow card. A yellow card is being called.
Who ran into him? Was it Zadayo or someone else?
First discipline handed out in second overtime.
Might have been Nate Johnson. Nate Johnson getting the yellow card here as he was coming in to pressure and keep that ball in the zone. Must have been contact here, and they called that against Johnson with the yellow card. So first yellow card of the game on either side. Kick coming here for the Eagles with 1:53 remaining on the clock. And the ball booted into Maroons territory. It's going to go to the near sideline. Coe battling. He chips it ahead. Adeosun has it. Along the near sideline, he's pressuring on, heads it down to himself. And he's being tracked down from behind by Tyler Santee, but Adeosun maintains possession. Two players on him, roll it over the goal line. Lopez will stop it. He'll feed it to Coe. Coe chipping it towards the box, but nobody there, too much on it, and it's going to roll out of bounds. I think the wind might be having an effect on some of these kicks here as they're taking them a little bit further than normally they would be placed by Coe.
And possibly fatigue as well.
True,
Kinda
right.
hard to judge on the fly
Yeah,
how hard you want to put and how much oomph you want to put behind your kick.
Coe to Scott Lick. Scott Lick near side. He's going to angle up, chip it towards the box, booted into the air by the Eagles. Finally knocked down out of the air. Coe will take it, but the ball is knocked away by the Eagles, and they'll push it into Maroons territory as Mustafa Kitab trying to chase it down and booted back by Nate Johnson. Johnson gets it into Eagles territory. Adeosun knocked down. No call. Here comes the Eagles. With 25 seconds remaining, here comes Christian Meyer. He's got ahead of steam along the far side, taken down. And they're calling that one.
It looks like he's reaching into his pocket for another yellow
And
card.
another yellow card coming up here. Series of yellow cards against the Maroons. Christian Meyer at the helm with his speed. This is a big moment. Clock has stopped with 18 seconds remaining. And now it looks like Mustafa Kitab is going to take this kick.
Yeah, that was a smart yellow card to take, actually. That's one of those yellow cards out of necessity.
Right? Yeah, with what's at stake, I mean, you have to do what you have to do.
Well, and the fact that the last goal was scored in the exact same way by him running out, can't take any chances with his speed.
All right, kick on the way from Kitab. In the air, low, bounding kick, headed out by the Maroons. Punched ahead towards midfield, kept in by the Eagles. 10 seconds remaining, headed back towards Hill Bonin. He's going to grab it, and this second overtime period is going to expire, and we are going to go to penalty kick time.
My goodness. It's crazy to think that we've played all of this soccer and that, you know, it's been so neck and neck, so close, and now it comes down to penalty kicks, which really, in my opinion, it's kind of a stroke of luck. You have to guess where the goalie is and try to beat him out, and it's a lot more mind games rather than playing to your strengths, really working a lot of team ball. It comes down to individual stuff, you know.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's a part of, you know, I'm not a fan of ending games this way, but, you know, it is what it is. And
I think this is, you know, it helps to, you know, to prevent this from going about 5 hours. But, you know, because.
You think people want to thaw out? Is that what you're saying?
We're a little. Well, you know, us broadcasters, you know, gotta give you a little break every now and then, Eric. But
right.
No, it's a great opportunity there from Matthew Coe.
Header on its way towards the box, off the post and in.
No, they called
advance here with 36 minutes remaining in the first half. Chipped from the corner, going towards the box, headed there it is, and it's in. Inside to Lopez, headed out of there by the Eagles. Knocked back down, however. Shot fired. Oh, just off. And if we don't get through penalty kicks, we will do rock, paper, scissors to decide the fight. No, that's not true, but penalty kicks will decide it, and that is the situation here.
Guess a number between 1 and 10, and the closest one wins.
Right.
Is that how?
All right, I'm taking the risk. Can we just add some more time?
Yeah, that's right.
Got about a 3.5 minute break here, talking about some more tactics. You know, motivating the guys. You know. It looks like they're going to, the Maroons are going to change goalies to go with the bigger, I believe that's Paulus, who they're going to put in goal, because they've been warming him up since about the 2-minute mark left to go in the second overtime. So it looks like he's going to be the, you know, he's a bit taller, a bit longer. They want to go with a guy that's got a bit more size. And it looks like they're doing the exact same thing. The Emory Eagles are. They're sending out.
That's Trevor Storms who's going to go in net for the Eagles.
And also the taller of the two goalies. So it looks like they're going with some size, and they're going with you know, their backup goalies to decide this game. So interesting tactic from both teams, to say the least.
All right, so now both players are gathering up at midfield. Both players, both teams. There's just two players.
No, to be fair, there's only two players that matter per kick.
All right. So now the official talking things over with both goalkeepers. Trevor Storms in for the Eagles and Aaron Katsampoulos for the Maroons.
Stop the clock and put zeros on.
As we're going to get ready for the first penalty kick, which will be by the Maroons. And it looks like Andre Abedian will be first up.
Looks like number 1 is the goalie? Yeah, they're both goalies.
And Trevor Storms in net for the Eagles. So Andre Abedian first to kick here for the Maroons. Now Storms will take his position. Do a little superstition there, touching all posts and crossbar. Kick by Abedian on its way. Fires, scores. Andre Abedian breaks the ice first for the Maroons.
1-0 for the Maroons in penalty kicks.
Yeah, I'm going to have you keep score for me, Alex.
Well, I'm nervous as it is. So
Yes.
I have a hard time seeing these numbers. This looks like it'd be 9. Which number is he?
Are you putting the goal totals on the scoreboard, Nathan? Or how are we going to know what the scores are for the...
We're not doing it that way. We're just going to keep...
All right, I think this is Carragher for the Eagles shooting. Chip shot score.
1-1.
Michael Carragher. And now Max Lopez is going to trot down for the Maroons as the penalty kicks are all knotted up at 1 apiece.
Couldn't imagine the tension down there on the field.
And a score.
Beat him right side once again. They must have gone over that matchup and seen that they like going against that far post.
Yep. All right, so now the Maroons up 2-1 in the goal kick category. And here's Mustafa Kitab. Kitab now taking the kick, or will take the kick for the Eagles. And Aaron Katsimpalis there in net. All right, whistle sound. Kick by Kitab, and it's stopped!
That is a big-time
Big stop there by Katsimpalis on Kitab. And he spiked that ball down. He's fired up right now.
This could be the one that ices it right here.
No, I think it's up to 5. You have to win by a certain amount. Yeah. And then it just keeps going through the whole lineup of 10. I don't think this ices it. Only if the next one saves. If he makes this and then the next one saves, I think that might.
All right. So now Matthew Coe will take his shot in the penalty shot. Up 2-1, the Maroons are.
Is that Stacy?
That's Stacey Ryman. Ryman with the kick. Shot score!
So
Ryman hammers it home, and it's a 3-1 lead.
that was a big-time shot there.
And Ryman's grandparents, they're still watching back at home. They've seen their son score a goal here in the penalty kick.
Literally, I have no idea. I have to put it in.
And now the next kicker up for the Eagles. Here's a shot on its way, and it's in. It narrows it down to 3-2. As that shot goes in, again, we have a hard time reading the numbers for the Eagles players. So we'll just track that as a 3-2 advantage. And now we have Matthew Coe. Matthew Coe now taking the shot for the Maroons. Shot on its way, deflected in.
That's 4-2.
So the Maroons haven't missed a shot yet. 4-2, as Alex mentioned. Katsimpalis will roll back into the net. This is Tyler Sante. Tyler Sante taking the shot now for the Eagles, with the Maroons up 4-2 in shots. This is big time here. Will Katsimpalis be able to save another one? Or will Sante put it past to extend this penalty kick? Shot on the way and in the high corner. Little deception there by Sante as he took a couple stutter steps, then fired. And that narrows the gap to 4-3. Dio Adeosun now coming with his penalty kick as Trevor Storms will get back in the net.
I'm not going to lie. That was a pretty gutsy play to put that in the top post, the near side.
All right. There's Dio's shot. Rolls into the corner, and we have a champion for the sectional final as the University of Chicago Maroons will move on to the Final Four.
Chicago advances 5-4 on a penalty kick shootout.
On a penalty kick shootout, winning and advancing as Adeo's shot goes in, and the University of Chicago Maroons are going to the Final Four, going through double overtime. Had a 1-0 lead at the end of the half. The Eagles tied it up, played through 2 10-minute overtime periods, and then it's decided on a penalty kick. And the Maroons win this one, and they're off to Greensboro to the Final Four to join the women's team. So both University of Chicago soccer programs heading to the Final Four. What a great weekend for University of Chicago soccer. And what a great run by Emory University, taking this one all the way to the sectional final, bringing it to overtime, 2 overtime periods, getting it into the penalty kick, but just not enough. And that big stop by Katsampalis was the difference. And the Maroons will move on to Greensboro. Alex, what are your thoughts?
Oh, man, I'm still trying to compress it all together. My goodness, what a fantastic match. You got to feel for Emory here. I mean, there's really not a more stinging way to lose a game than on penalty kicks, and really one play kind of decides and you know, a little bit of a change kind of dictates it. Emory's definitely going to be hanging their heads. They have absolutely no reason to do so. They've played a fantastic game in this match. They've had a fantastic run. Great division rival and a conference rival. Fantastic Elite 8 game here. And congratulations to the Chicago Maroons. They've definitely earned it through guts and determination and sticking through the diversity. 2 goals being called back off of the scoreboard. So
right.
Fantastic. I mean, just great all around play and fantastic work from Katsampalis.
Well, usually they say when people come in to paint the town red, when the Greensboro look out as the University of Chicago is about to paint the town maroon, as both soccer programs are going to be headed in for Final Four action. And now they're going to go take their photo in front of the net, although that should have waited after the medals. But, hey, you're going on to the Final Four, so, yeah, yes, bring them back, boys.
They got a little too ambitious there.
That's okay. But, yeah, what a season by Emory. And the Maroons able to learn something from that defeat in the regular season, continue to play on strong. And we're going to have a medal ceremony now for the non-advancing team. Obviously, Emory University not advancing to the Final Four, but quite a battle in that regards. 15-5-2 is the final record for the Emory University Eagles. And so they're going to accept their medals for their placement here. And I think you're right, Alex. This is a tough go for the players on the teams. It's not the medal they want to be accepting, but
well, there is nobody that's hanging his head more than Trevor Storms right now. You can see the way that he was walking out with his plaque. He was the first guy to come out, and he was really distraught.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's not easy, and that's a thankless position to be put in, though. It's the game's on your. That's the position you play, and the game's on your hands. But at a lot of those times, it's complete guesswork anyways. So.
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to be thinking about that. I know Trevor Storms is going to be thinking about that his entire offseason. He's going to be thinking that he let his team down, and really it was just great execution from the Maroons. Neither one of the goalies have anything to be upset about for letting the goals in that they did. Just good execution. just have to play through that, continue to play through the diversity, and hopefully, he doesn't beat himself up too much, and his teammates can console him. But yeah, it's a rough thing to be put into as the backup goalie after your starting goalie shut the door and kept your team in it through just guts and determination. It's really tough.
Well, Storms is a sophomore though, so he'll bounce back. And again, great program, Emory, and put on a great run here in this postseason. A great year by the Maroons that continues as they move on to Final Four action in Greensboro. Again, a great opportunity for the University of Chicago programs as they move on to the Final Four in both men's and women's soccer. Well, Alex, final thoughts from you.
Fantastic game. Both teams, honestly, they grounded out. They played as hard as they could, and again, it was kind of too bad to see one of these guys' seasons end this, in this manner. But fantastic job from both teams. Definitely some of the best soccer that we've been able to watch all season long. A couple of overtimes. I know that I'm emotionally drained. I'm sure you are as well as everybody else who's
Makes
in
for
this
an exciting
stadium.
Broadcast, though. That's for sure.
Definitely.
All right, well, that'll do it here. Final is on penalty kicks. The University of Chicago defeats Emory University and moves on to the Final Four in Greensboro. So great opportunity for the Maroons. For Alex Reed and Sean Jarrett, Dan Obi, this is Eric Willowhite saying so long, and thanks for joining us on the Maroons Broadcast Network.